I remember this one from last season. The crest was like a credit card. It'd be quite cool if you could load it up and then in the stadium you could tap it to buy a drink at half time. Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. For us, it feels like Merry Kitmas because we are going to do an unpacking, an unboxing, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to call it unboxing because they're not in boxes. But we have got a bunch of stuff here that we haven't opened yet, kind of a live on-air instant reaction to what we're seeing. So we have got a couple to start with that we did open just before the camera started rolling. Tottenham Hotspur shirts. They're white.
Yeah. From a distance, I actually like the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
I definitely prefer the authentic to the replica, but I quite like the Spurs detail that they've put around the neckline.
Well, on the sleeve, it's the other way up. So if you want, you can flip the cuff up and have the overlocked edge at the bottom, which is very attractive. And then you can have a fluorescent yellow Spurs thing around your arm.
But there's not much else to say about them, is there really? But
there never is with Spurs shirts,
right.
are they? Rubbish.
So one thing that I did want to revisit though,
Roma.
We did Roma.
We did last season's authentic and replica and did the comparison. So if you want to see that, click the link below. We weren't very impressed. There wasn't much difference between the two. So we are going to have a look now and see if this year there is more difference, because for the 21-22 season, there wasn't really any point buying the more expensive one. They were basically the same shirt.
Yeah, I think I must have the replica one.
And I have one.
It's recycled fabric.
Is it?
That's
sure is.
I think the silver is replica and then the gold is authentic,
That's right.
Can we get rid of that paper?
No problem.
So much paper.
We'll come on to it in a minute about just how much packaging we've been exposed to over the course of filming our latest series of videos. It's definitely something that our industry needs to address.
So yeah, going back to the kit itself, I actually think that's quite a nice looking kit.
It's all right, isn't it?
There's a couple of different types of fabric, nice little detail on the back there. Neckline's not too bad. The button is so tiny, rubberized as well, so that's not too bad.
How's your crest application,
So
mate?
my crest application's just a straightforward applique. It's not too bad on the inside, so that's all right. But put them side by side.
They're the same again.
Right, so I don't get this. So if that is the authentic kit, the fabric on the arm isn't as nice as the fabric on the replica.
The back has got the body mapping on. I think that might be the same as last season, you know.
Yeah, so I don't think that's on that one.
We should check our own video and see.
Which is quite possibly why that fabric has ended up on that arm.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, New Balance, sort your shit out, man. How can you expect your everyday punter to pay the extra amount of money on two
Slightly
garments that
different
are virtually exactly the same?
both
I just
got this
don't get it.
Dreadful plastic thing.
And then
on the
that
sleeve.
thing's still your nipple grater,
That's
and it's
outrageous,
exactly
isn't
the
it?
same on that. With all due respect, New Balance, you really need to sort your shit out, because that is a prized possession and it's shit.
Not good enough.
Right, next one.
Paris Saint-Germain. I'm going to open Barcelona at the same time.
So this is the authentic with that template.
So is this with that template. Wow, it's big, this.
That's quite nice. I quite like the jacquard within that.
Yeah. This is a triple XL, so if you were going to buy an authentic one, you'd definitely get your value for money with this, because it's about 400 quid's worth of fabric.
Well, the great thing about that is Subside's not going to get that one back, because I'm going to stick that in my bag, because it'll probably fit my girth. But no, I quite like this. I think from a template perspective, again, from a Paris Saint-Germain perspective, that actually works all right.
But it is the same shirt with a different print, is it not?
Pretty much. There's a
Bit
slight
of
difference
difference.
because the neckline's different.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that's just your standard crew neck. I don't quite understand why that's cut there. They've spliced that at the back. I would imagine it's probably because with a lot of the template type of designs, there'll have been other teams that have
Added
took
contrast,
contrast or what have you. But yeah, not bad. I'd probably give that a 7 out of 11 maybe.
I'll give it a 1 because it's got Qatar written on the front of it.
Oh God, here we go again. Anyway, what would you give that?
Well, it's the same shirt really, so I'll give it the same.
Can I just have a quick look at that? I quite like that. There's a lot of navy blue on it though, isn't there?
It's a lot of Barcelona.
It might simply be because we're looking at a
Triple XL, so there's like an extra 4 inches of navy on
Well,
the
yeah,
side.
because that's something else, that a little bit of insider information. When you're creating these size sets, you start with your medium or your large in most cases, and then they go out.
Yeah.
So as you're making those bigger sizes, the graphic doesn't get bigger. You just have to have more space.
Certainly
so
if it's a placed graphic like that, if it's across the roll of the fabric, you don't notice.
I would imagine if that was, for example, a medium, the shirt's going to look more like that, which actually is quite nice. But when you get it into that huge size...
Not a good season to be a plus-size Barcelona fan.
Yeah, but yeah, okay,
Heartbreak.
I'd probably agree with that. But what I am interested in seeing are these bad
Can we
boys.
save them for last?
Oh, come on.
You have Juventus.
So what you got, Man U?
Yeah, Battle of Adidas, Manchester
Paper's
United.
recycled. That's a good start.
So it's got like wax paper or something inside it that I can't imagine very easy to recycle.
No.
So brands tend to do this because, as Craig has talked about before in a previous video, when the shirts are being shipped across from Asia, usually in a shipping container, as you can imagine, 6 weeks on the ocean, it gets really hot in the containers, really humid, and without the paper it can lead to defects with the colour of the shirt and with the heat transfers and the other applications. They can peel off, all sorts can happen to them. So that's the solution that's widely adopted, but it doesn't mean to say that it's the only thing that would do the job. There's a lot of not very great plastics and papers involved.
And in the time you've been explaining all of that, I've fallen in love with this.
Have you?
Yeah, I love
Oh,
that.
it's nice, isn't it?
As a Newcastle United fan, I know how difficult it is to keep coming up with new ideas around stripes and stuff, but I actually don't mind that at all. I quite like it. And I quite like the fabric they've used as well. I think we've seen this in some of the kits before. But where there's been a big difference is when we've seen some of the World Cup kits and the really beautiful detail they've put on their stripes. This is obviously pre-World Cup designs.
Yeah.
You know, it can be forgiven for that because that's where they were at the time. So, yeah, I genuinely really quite like that. I'd probably give that an 8 out of an 11.
Yeah.
Which I think would probably be controversial.
If Newcastle turned up with those stripes, how would you feel?
Like I say, I genuinely
Yeah.
would quite like them.
How
Yeah.
would the average Newcastle fan feel?
Probably hate them.
Really?
Yeah.
If you're a Newcastle fan watching this, let us know. What do you think of those stripes? Are they sacred to Newcastle, or is there room to do something a bit more modern?
But what I would say, if we were going to do something like this, I would expect that pattern to have some sort of reference to the Geordie nation.
Right. Could have one triangle for every person that's been executed in the last 10 years, maybe. Next, we've got Manchester United. Speaking of despair, although as it stands, the club could be up for new owners fairly soon. This is a nice shirt. There's not much to look at, but the fabric itself with the little stripe detail in it is really nice. It's got a great hand feel to it. The thing that I like the most, I can't get across on camera unfortunately, I really like the hand feel of that collar. It's really soft.
It is nice.
Unusually soft, and the detail in it that's been knitted in is quite a complex procedure to knit that in with that level of intricacy. So the money on this has clearly gone on the fabric and the collar, so I can forgive that there's not a lot of other detail on it. But looking at this, and even with the executions on the badges on it, across both these shirts, they're just not at the level of the World Cup ones. If you think of the crest executions, even though they're heat applied, they've been created to look like embroideries, which we've got a little bit of that on here. In fact, that is what they've done. It just looks a bit more refined on the World Cup shirts. Same with the details on the shoulders. These, for me, they're nice. And if I hadn't seen the national team ones, I'd score them quite high, but they definitely feel like second prize, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm only going to give that a 6, but without the World Cup
really?
ones, I probably would have scored it quite high.
Yeah, what I don't like about that, the UV stripe on that, it's completely matte. There's no kind of pickup of sheen, where that looks
Looks
quite
really
cheap,
cheap,
and you can actually see the glue marks.
Yeah. It's got Manchester United written on it, though.
Oh, that's
And
all
it's
right.
spelled right.
Right.
Right, Fortaleza. So this is their jersey for the Copa Libertadores.
Oh my lord.
Ay caramba! Look at the
Wow.
colours on that.
Man, that gold. Jeez Louise.
You love that, don't you?
No, I do
Does that
not.
not bring back happy memories?
No, that was quite interesting as well, as I've taken that off. It's actually left half the sticker on there. So subside are probably going to be, well, I'll try and put it back on there before they see it. But
See, Jerry's peering over his glasses in the
yeah,
background. now
but
we
when
can-
you actually peel that off there, it's left half the sticker on the jersey itself, which then begs the question, how are you going to iron it anyway when it's still got half the sticker on it?
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of detail on that, though, isn't there?
There is. I remember this one from when we reviewed it last season. The crest was like a credit card, and that is the case again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Be quite cool if you could load it up and then in the stadium you could tap it to buy things at half time.
It's all right, though.
It's alright. I like what they've tried to do with the graphic. I feel like these colours are too washed out. Where they've tried to get an ivory colour in, it's just not happening. It clashes too much with what else is going on. It doesn't look harmonious, I think, because where there's the negative in there, it's not white enough. enough, so we
Yeah,
just
so
looked
what are you
old.
giving that?
Certainly not 80.
Oh, the number's interesting. That's actually printed into it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a small brand. There's a lot of detail on it. It's just not been brilliantly
If I was a
executed.
collector,
I'd want it.
yeah, would I?
I just feel a bit like with one more round of prototypes, it could have been so much better.
How much nicer is that kit though? If you take that gold off, the gold kills it.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
Not all working. Marks out of 11.
I'd give them an 11 for effort, but in terms of how it's executed, just a 6, I think.
Cool. Right, what I am interested in is these brown paper bags.
Yes.
So one of the things that Rob touched on earlier is Subside have given us absolutely tons and tons of shirts to review, and the amount of packaging that we've gone through, basically you wouldn't believe the piles and piles of plastic bags and paper that comes with all the kits that we open. So it's actually really nice to see something that's really simplistic in a brown paper bag essentially, and I would like to think we could get to a place, I just think it would be so much nicer.
Paper, most places, you can recycle that at home.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited to see these.
Our team for a better world, say Yakko. Let's have a look. We loved the Stuttgart shirts last season, didn't we?
Just
So,
open that one up as well.
the green machine. Oh, we've got some red stuff.
So I guess what we're looking at is home, away. And Jerry, is that the third or is that a goalkeeper's?
Home goalkeeper.
Home goalkeeper, right.
Home.
Home, away, home goalkeepers. The colour they've used here is a Petronas green from Mercedes,
Yeah, from
apparently.
the Formula One team, which makes sense because you've got Mercedes-Benz Bank. Stuttgart is the home of many great car manufacturers.
Yeah. So what are we thinking?
We liked the Stuttgart one last season, and first glance at this, I feel the same again. There's some of the similar details that we saw last season, such as these visual acuity spots on the shoulder. Visual acuity basically means that it makes it easier to spot you in their peripheral vision. This has got a really nice print across the front that's got various aspects of Stuttgart throughout it. It's even got the stadium on the back. So loads of really nice details. They've done a great job of something that's very difficult, which is matching up a stripe across different panels. That's so easy to get wrong. And they've got it absolutely inch perfect. So the Stuttgart chest stripe runs right the way around the jersey. The fabric is silky smooth. I haven't quite decided if I like it yet or not, but I can imagine for an athlete playing in it, it's pretty comfortable. I like this. It seems to be the same execution of Crest, but that is a different one, and it takes me all the way back 15, 18 years ago when I was designing Stuttgart shirts, and we were using this kind of 3D visual.
I don't actually mind that so much.
It's not bad.
But yeah, I think the kits are really nice. I think the fact we took them out of brown paper bags is a great start.
It's also keeping in with the World Cup theme as well, brown paper bags, allegedly.
I think 3 individual kits that I would buy as a supporter, there's definitely a lot of difference between them all. Yeah, I don't mind these at all.
Good. I just think it's hard to go wrong when you've got a sponsor logo like that. It's certainly a lot easier than some of the ones we work with.
That's a nice little touch though. It's like a ticketing system.
Oh wow. So yeah, it's from the Stuttgart stadium that was called the Neckarstadion back in the day. So yeah, a lot going on with both of these. And the more I talk about this one, the more I think I love it.
Marks out of 11 for each one of them.
I'm going to give that a 7 because I like the print and it's nice and soft. That an 8 because it makes me think of the golden era of German football. The goalkeeper jersey is probably only a 6. It's all right.
I think you've been very generous.
And reflective and iridescent. So there you go. That's nice. You could go out cycling in these and be fractionally safer than you would have been without them. So yeah, a decent showing all round. It's good to see that the attention to detail continues to be elevated across different teams, although from an athlete innovation perspective, things still feel a bit stagnant.
I think so. However, the bar has been raised with graphics, little detailing, but it just seems to be fabrics are recycled.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's table stakes.
Yeah.
Certainly when you think of the amount of packaging that's going out into the world.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we'd love to get your take on the current season's offering of shirts. What are brands doing well, not so well, and how important is sustainability to you as a kit collector or just as a football fan in general? Had you noticed how much rubbish is generated through kits? And also if you think of within a stadium during a game on our planet. Also, we'd love to see you at our Patreon channel. You'll be able to enter exclusive competitions, Q&As, and even 1 or 2 celebrities in there. So great place to be. Until then, leave us a comment, like, subscribe, and we are utterly grateful. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time on the channel.
Craig, hold that up next to you. It's your exact outfit.